What if the most dangerous monster your child ever encountered wasn't hiding in the dark, wasn't waiting in the woods, and wasn't born from ancient folklore, but was created on a screen, shared for fun, and slowly transformed into belief? What if a story that adults clearly understood as fiction became real enough in a child's mind to justify violence? And what if the real horror wasn't the monster at all, but the moment society realized it no longer controlled the stories shaping its children? This is not a creepypasta. This is not internet horror. This is the full, deeply unsettling story of the Slender Man moral panic, how a fictional character escaped the boundaries of storytelling, collided with vulnerable minds, and exposed a terrifying weakness in modern culture. Before Slender Man became a warning, a headline, or a symbol of fear, he was nothing more than an experiment. In 2009, the internet still felt experimental. Social media existed, but it hadn't yet become omnipresent. Forums were creative spaces where people tested ideas, identities, and narratives. One forum launched a simple challenge: create fake paranormal images, not to deceive permanently, not to manipulate, just to explore how convincing fiction could look when presented as evidence. One user uploaded a black and white image of children playing outside. In the background stood a figure that didn't belong. Too tall, too thin, faceless. The caption implied the children later disappeared. There was no explanation. And that absence of explanation did all the work. Humans fear what they must imagine. The figure was later named Slender Man. At first, everyone understood it was fake. People laughed. They added details. They tried to outdo each other. Slender Man was not a character. He was a collaborative idea, and that made him powerful. Unlike traditional horror icons, Slender Man had no creator in control, no studio, no author, no ending anyone could add to him. And thousands did. People didn't just write stories. They created artifacts. Fake police reports written in official language. Fake medical evaluations describing trauma. Fake historical documents suggesting he had existed for decades. YouTube creators made found footage series that looked like genuine investigations. Shaky cameras, static interference, missing person tropes. Everything about Slender Man was designed to feel authentic, not cinematic, authentic. This distinction matters, because authenticity is more persuasive than spectacle, especially to children. Children didn't encounter Slender Man as a defined story. They encountered fragments, an image shared by a friend, a video recommended late at night, a post framed as evidence. Each fragment reinforced the same ideas. He watches, he follows, he punishes disobedience. He targets children, and no one explained what this was. Adults assumed children would understand it was fiction. They didn't. Children don't naturally distinguish collaborative storytelling from reality. They don't ask who created a myth. They ask why it feels real. And when fear answers that question repeatedly, belief begins to form. By the early 2010s, Slender Man was deeply embedded in online youth culture, not as entertainment, as presence. Something whispered about, something feared, something discussed privately. It felt forbidden, and forbidden stories always spread faster. Then came 2014, a quiet town in Wisconsin, a place that looked safe. Two 12-year-old girls believed Slender Man was real, not in a playful way, in the way people believe in threats. They believed he lived nearby. They believed he could read thoughts. They believed he punished disobedience. They believed he demanded proof of loyalty. And they believed that if they didn't obey him, he would harm their families. This belief didn't appear overnight. It was constructed through hours of unsupervised content, through repetition, through isolation, and beneath it all, untreated mental illness. The girls planned carefully. They didn't see themselves as violent. They saw themselves as necessary. They lured a classmate into the woods. They stabbed her 19 times. They left her bleeding. They walked away believing they had done what was required. The victim survived, and that survival forced the truth into the open. When police questioned the girls, the explanation stunned the nation. They said they did it for Slender Man. In that moment, America froze. This wasn't just a crime. It was a cultural shock. A fictional character had entered the real world. The media reacted instantly and violently. Headlines erased nuance. Internet monster drives children to violence. Online horror inspires attempted murder. Slender Man stabbing. Mental health barely made the front page. The story became about content, about danger, about control. Parents panicked. Schools panicked. Experts rushed to television screens. And Slender Man became a symbol of everything adults feared about the internet. This is how moral panics form. A complex event is simplified. A single cause is identified. Fear becomes policy. Slender Man was blamed, because blaming a story is easier than confronting deeper failures. The girls involved were not typical. They were vulnerable. They didn't just enjoy horror, they believed it. Slender Man didn't create their delusions. He filled an existing void. But panic does not tolerate complexity. Schools banned creepypasta discussions. Parents restricted internet access. Libraries quietly removed books. Teachers were warned to monitor conversations. The internet was declared unsafe again. This reaction felt familiar, because America has done this many times before. Comic books were blamed for delinquency. Rock music was blamed for rebellion. Video games were blamed for violence. Each time, fear targeted the medium instead of the root cause. Slender Man became the newest scapegoat. What made this panic different was scale and speed. Stories no longer needed publishers, no editors, no ratings, no warnings. Fear could spread instantly, privately, and without oversight. Adults realized something terrifying. They no longer controlled the narrative shaping their children. That realization cut deep, because stories shape belief, and belief shapes action. The irony is brutal. Slender Man was created to demonstrate how easily people believe fake evidence. Years later, he proved that lesson in real life. As panic escalated, the conversation drifted in the wrong direction. Instead of asking how to support vulnerable children, society asked how to eliminate stories. Mental health discussions faded. Early intervention was ignored. Listening was replaced with restriction. Slender Man eventually faded from headlines. But the conditions that allowed him to take hold did not disappear. Children still consume unfiltered content. Vulnerable minds still exist. Adults still assume understanding instead of teaching it. The monster was never the problem. Silence was. Slender Man didn't escape fiction. He was invited into reality. Through neglect, through misunderstanding, through the assumption that children would just know. And that may be the most unsettling truth of all. Not that children believed in a monster, but that no one noticed how desperately they needed guidance. Stories will always exist. Fear will always find a shape. The question is whether we respond with panic or with responsibility, because the real danger was never a tall, faceless man in the woods. It was what happens when imagination meets vulnerability without context, without explanation, and without care. If this story made you rethink how powerful stories really are, hit the like button. Subscribe for more deep dives into real events where fear, belief, and culture collide. And comment below, do you think the Slender Man moral panic was an unavoidable warning, or proof that we still don't understand the responsibility that comes with storytelling? I'll see you in the next one.